Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Achieve Your Dream Summit. Got a very special young lady for you today. You're going to get a big kick out of her. She knows what she's talking about. You look at that baby face and you think, how can she possibly be old enough to know what she's talking about? But I'll tell you, in the short time I've known her, she knows. And you're going to get in on what's in her head and in her heart. So I'm going to read you a little bit about her bio. It says here, Susi Vine's programs help high achievers discover how happiness paves the way to greater success by flipping the script on stress. Ooh, I like that. She helps her clients discover how they can unlock optimal focus and greater success by making space for what lights them up, more fun, creativity, and play. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a good one. Okay, so for those of you who have already seen some of my interviews, you'll know that I ask these questions of every person that I interview. So I'm going to ask this first one of Susi, then I'm going to turn her loose. The number one, since our theme for this summit is Achieve Your Dream, let's start with this all-important question. Susi Vine, what were you born to do? Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's a big question. And I know you know that because you've spent a lot of time helping people get to the root of that. And I have spent a minute or two. And I've spent some time really digging in on that myself. I was not one who knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. Mm-hmm. And as I already told you, I worked in technical theater, and that gave me the chance to move around the country, to help other people realize their dreams and visions, to work with phenomenal talents. And I've changed career about 4 different times. So what I now know I was born to do is to help people connect the dots, to help people find, we need that, right? Yeah. There's some abstract stuff we've got to pull together. This is not a simple path.
It's not.
And to bring a little light and a little levity to it. And that's something that, a lot of times we only understand our path in retrospect. Mm-hmm. Something that I started doing as a very young child and didn't realize the kind of skill that I was cultivating. But everywhere I went, that kind of became my trademark, that I would, bring up the spirits in the room. I would be the first one to laugh. I would get people in a more positive perspective, because everything changes when you shift your point of view. And when you're looking for trouble, you're going to find it. So when you're looking for some more positive perspectives, it really opens things up. And so that is really important to what I'm doing now. As I look around, even these last couple of years notwithstanding, before that, and from my own personal story, my mother was a nurse. She worked night shifts for 40 years, delivering babies. So when it comes to stress, I know what it looks like. And I know how it impacts the person, it impacts the people around them. And as I have moved through my own career and different facets, doing a lot of different things, I've seen how people respond to it. And we can get more into that, a little bit further down the conversation, but perspective is absolutely everything. And when we recognize that we have the power to change our perspective and the power to change the outcome, then we can start writing our own story, and we're not the victim to what is being served up. And I think that a lot of people feel very disempowered and are looking for solutions out there. And I'm really passionate about helping people recognize that we've got this story within ourselves. We just need to turn down the volume on all of that influence and give ourselves the chance to get clear on that.
That is eloquently put. Yeah, I'm a little more down to earth. Like, are you doing a job that you hate? Do you need change in your life, or are you living in a sea of regret? But what you just said is elegant, just elegant and eloquent. So go on. You have my interest.
Well, I was in a job where I would wake up on Monday and I would wish it was Friday. And then I realized I was wishing away 5 days of the week, and we can't live for the weekends. That's not a sustainable model. And so many people think that's fine. That's normalized. We're just going to power through. We're going to aim for that success that we've been told is what success looks like. Rarely have we even given ourselves a chance to think, do we want that picture that we've aimed ourselves for? And, when we get there, we'll give ourselves permission to be happy. When we get there, we'll fix the relationships that have gotten a little tarnished along the way, if they haven't dissolved completely. When we get to success, then we'll be worthy of being happy. And it's heartbreaking to me. I mean, how many of us know stories of people, I know so many people, I'm proud Generation X banner bearer, and I know that we don't want to go quietly into that model. How many people see their parents work endless hours, working through vacations, missing the ball games, and then when they approach their retirement, they're excited about spending time with their grandkids. Some health condition comes up and separates them from that opportunity when they finally got to their finish line, right? And so like I said, I've done a lot of different work. The career I was in before I struck out on my own and finally gave up and became an entrepreneur instead of doing great work for other people, I worked with a company that was in senior move management. And so I took that theater magic ability that I had, and I helped our clients get ready to move out of their home. They might have been in it for 40 or 50 years into a smaller retirement community. Here in the San Diego area, it's more like resort living, but they'd have to downsize and give up a lot of what they had accumulated over the years. You just can't take it all with you, which is a great show. And I was sitting there helping them through this process, trying to raise their spirits, trying to help them see the bright side, how much opportunity they're going to have, social engagement. They're not going to be holed up home alone, isolated anymore. And all they could see was what they had to give up. And all they could see as the cause of that is because maybe their kids or their doctor said that they couldn't be independent anymore. They weren't healthy enough to stay at home. And so my eyes opened when I recognized myself and my peers aren't going to want to write that same story for ourselves. We're not going to want to be told what to do any more than our parents or grandparents are. Stress is the common denominator, and how we show up to stress and how we show up in making our own choices in life, and whether we feel empowered or relegated to just respond, has everything to do with the outcome. And if we work upstream and we start making small changes right now when it's easier before it's really broken and we really have to find a way to fix it, then we can have a completely different outcome downstream. And because stress is the common denominator, that was the first place where I landed with my message. When I became passionate and I said, we have to recognize how much power we're giving away and how we can shift things. So initially, 3X less stress was about turning down the volume on stress: emotional, physical, and environmental, 3 aspects of stress. Phew. And then, thank you, I found some people in the field of positive psychology, and they blew my mind open, because perspective is everything. And our mission is not to live without stress. That's impossible and will bring us stress in and of itself, but how we approach it, how we see it, and how we choose to use it to our advantage has everything to do with it. So that falls into this whole mission I am on, to help people feel empowered and write their own stories.
That's a lot. That's a mouthful, I'll tell you. Brilliant stuff. Now, the second question, and you've answered a lot of this, but there might be some more things, and that is, how did you get there? How did you get to where you knew what you were born to do?
It really was, a lot of people have a single light bulb moment. I think that when I was in that position of working with my clients and recognizing that while I could help them in their immediate situation, I could help them have an easier move. How many other people, it certainly would be job security, to sit back and wait for everybody else to run headlong into that problem. Great business to get into, right? Senior service industry. We're taking care of the silver tsunami, as we like to call it right now. That's what the boomers are leading up to. Because there's a lot of people who are redefining what it looks like to age. But what if we can redefine what that whole thing looks like? And so that was really the point at which I got clear I needed to do something different. And so, with my mom being a nurse, I had already studied some more energetic modalities. I'm a Reiki practitioner. And so I embraced the woo. But I also know that we really need to be grounded and work from science. And a lot of people want to understand the how and the why. And you can't always say, because we're all connected, even if we are. We need better answers than that. So I studied holistic health. I did some work in body work, massage therapy, and started working with clients that way as I built my coaching practice. But that light bulb moment really has been about moving my message forward. And so beyond working with people one-on-one, I recognize that this kind of message, it needs to be more available. In Southern California, it's easy to see, information about healthy eating, moving your body. We must be like the triathlete capital of the US. There's so many athletes in this area. But where I'm from in central Illinois, this isn't dinner table conversation. And the fact that we have to go out and educate ourselves on what healthy eating actually is beyond what the gurus say, is it keto or is it paleo or is it vegan? What are we supposed to do this month? It's so confusing and overwhelming. I really think that's why people just stay where they are and really do feel like, well, I feel okay. I'd like to feel better, but it's not broken. So how do I know where to begin? Who do I trust? How do I fix it? And so that's one thing that really inspired me. I found myself starting a podcast during these last 2 years. That was my COVID baby. No new pets, no new kids around the house, but I started a podcast, and it's really given me an opportunity to help people bring their messages out, because just because we don't know where to begin isn't a good reason to not look for a place to get started.
Well, I'm going to have to become a member or subscribe to your podcast, because you explain things extremely well. You're very eloquent, and I love the fact that this girl has a vocabulary. Have you noticed that? Isn't it nice nowadays? Isn't it just enlightening that somebody has a vocabulary? I appreciate it. Well, let me ask the third question. We're moving right along here. How does your business fit into your dream? You've already given us some hints on that, but expand some more. I'm mesmerized.
I will keep sharing. So my podcast is called Happified, and it lets me meet terrific people and bring them on the show. I see an episode in your future. We'll iron out the details on that in the short term. So I have the podcast coming out. It really allows me that flexibility, and that's really something that, coming from working for other people, working that 9-to-5 model for so long, has been a luxury to be able to expand into. And, I think that so many of us have this dream of working flexible hours, of being able to work from wherever. And ultimately, that's a goal of mine. Right now, I'm a home-based business, but that lets me connect with clients here or long distance, thanks to Zoom, and really start to build community. I think that's something else that's really been missing, is we tend to feel so isolated. Again, even before these last 2 years, feeling isolated, depression and anxiety have been on the rise for a long time, and now just exacerbated, really. So to look for ways, and now as technology is coming along, and beyond Facebook, of course, that's one place where I am, but to connect in community with other people who are looking for the same answers, to cheer each other on, is something that I'm really passionate about building. And so along with that, bringing the message out, or making information more easily available, synthesizing this information so people can say, yes, that's relevant to me. Yes, this sounds like a good place to start. And then helping, keep that energy going through momentum and community is something I'm really passionate about. So it's still evolving. I took some time over this holiday break to get some clarity, because I'm sure, as an entrepreneur, all of these ideas come through and we try to jump on everything at the same time. So putting things into an order is important too. But this year I'm really focusing on just sharing what I've been able to pull together from so many different guests. I'm up to 75 episodes on the podcast. I just hosted a summit myself and had a terrific time with that. So, a lot of these things come back to some really foundational themes that, if we make it more tangible and understandable, and if we help support people in recognizing that it doesn't have to be a complete lifestyle shift in order to be worthwhile, we can just make a tiny change and build on that. And so that's what I want to do. Create that toolkit so people can start to pick and choose, see what works for them, put aside what doesn't until maybe later, and really start to see results so we can feel more confident and empowered in our ability to create change.
Wow. My longtime friend, Dave Ramsey, who endorses my course, his whole thing is about baby steps and eating one bite at a time. But that's how he has gotten literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people out of debt, is by teaching them how to take those baby steps. And you're teaching people how to I almost said stress-free, but that's an oxymoron right there. That doesn't work. But to minimize that stress. And yes, and if you can hear one of my rescue dogs barking, well, we're just going to have to put up with that for a minute or two. So, all right, let's see here. Okay, why did you choose your particular title for this summit? And will you share that with us?
Yes. The topic is, are you the boss, or is stress undermining your success? And, a lot of times, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of times we might be working towards this picture of success.
Yes.
That isn't necessarily even ours, that comes from what our parents, teachers, society have painted as this picture of, what we're all aiming for. And
TV movies, everything, the celebrity thing, all of that. Yeah. And it's a sham.
Oh yeah. And if you've driven the 5 here in Southern California, you see all the luxury cars. I love the story. A client told me her mother-in-law was visiting from Ohio and looking at all of the Lamborghini and the Maserati and the Rolls. These cars must be cheaper out here.
That's good. That is good. That is good.
No, we've just all been kind of desensitized to this. We're supposed to be aiming for something, right? Some tangible expression of success. And I think along that path, we lose track of what's really the core of it, what's going to help us feel good along the way and how we get there. So I like I said, and you noticed in flipping the script on stress, there are some things we take for granted that we can just throw out. We can turn it around, and just by that awareness and changing our perspective, that's half the battle. I mean, as through your work with your clients, the subconscious mind, our habits and patterns can really hold us back. But changing our awareness is the first step. And then it's easier to change those habits and patterns because we've got reason to, because we can see ourselves being a different person, because we have a different deck of cards to be playing with.
Yes, yes. And I will stress, having done similar work for the last 35 years and counseling hundreds of people. Now it's called coaching. I like that better. But we get in our heads that this is the way that life is going to be. And I really can't get around that. And a lot of times they can't on their own. That's why they came to me. That's why working at the mega church of over 11,000 people, all the rest of the pastoral staff sent all of their tough cases to me. Oh, I'm going to commit suicide. Oh, I'm going to kill my wife. Oh, I'm going to beat up my dad. All of these to me for 35 years. And it was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? But boy, did I learn. And people need to, before they get to that stage, they need to come to you and get de-stressed. It would help people so much to think that we can just read a book or 2 or 3 and become de-stressed, unstressed. I don't even know if that's a word, but get rid of at least some of the stress in our lives that can be just killing us. We need to come talk to Susi, and more importantly, listen to Susi, comprehend what Susi is saying, and then not to get so down on ourselves that we say, oh, well, I could never do that. I could never accomplish that. When you say fun, put the excitement back into and all of this stuff, I believe you. And you're probably going to be hearing from me possibly more than you even want to, but I've gotten some good pointers here, and I want to follow up on some things. I've taken some copious notes, young lady. And anyway, okay, going on, we are doing so fine time-wise. I know that you have a gift. You have a gift for our viewers. And this is the free gift, not the one where they upgrade to VIP status, but this is the free gift. Would you tell us about it, please?
Absolutely. So what I have to share for everyone who's participating in this summit, first of all, kudos for expanding your your horizon for what you think is possible, because I know that there's going to be some great ideas coming up. And then what, right? Then where do we go from there? The gift that I have to share with you is a little mini masterclass called The Truth Behind the Top 5 Success Myths. Because like I said, when we have different information, when we understand that what we believe to be true is not true, then we have permission to explore a totally different way of being. And so we'll dig into some of those primary myths that I see ourselves, that I know I ran headlong into and tried to work through. And instead, we can just step around those. We can put those down and have a new way of operating. It's a short video and a PDF guide. So whether you're a visual learner or you like to work through the page, or maybe have some writing prompts and explore that, that'll be available. So that's free for everyone. And then for VIPs, you'll be able to join me in my Reset Stress for Success. That's a program that is a little bit longer, but we get to dive into more of the principles of how our model or our picture of stress might be leading us astray. So when it comes to, is how stress could be undermining our success, right? We tend to kind of look at it 3 different ways, or who's in charge. When you're stressed out on Monday, we've all just come back to the work after the holiday session. And so people are having trouble coming back online after this holiday break. We really needed to unplug, I think, right? And so now we're back in the Monday to Friday grind, and we get to look around and say, am I responding to stress? Is it the deadlines, the email inbox, the to-do list that doesn't get any shorter? Am I responding to the social expectations, what success looks like? Or am I really understanding what resonates with me, what works with me, what's my best working style, and how I can integrate that with who I am being at work, so that when I get to that success, it feels authentic, right? And one of the things about whether stress is driving it, this was one of my light bulb moments. When I found this research, it just cracked open my perception of, like I said, I used to think it was just turn down the volume on stress, learn to manage our time, fix our sleep schedule, move our bodies. All of those things are helpful, but we can see stress fundamentally. They've discovered people tend to see stress as debilitating or enhancing. Just kind of innately, we fall into 2 camps. And so some people see, we know those adrenaline junkies, right? Those free climbers that scale mountain faces. Yeah, what's next? And there are those people in the office too that thrive on those tight deadlines and the short budget, and they come out on top, and what's next? And then some of us, maybe most, tend to feel like stress, those deadlines, those restrictions and expectations are a threat, are a challenge that actually overwhelms us. And that's the perception of stress that actually leads to the physical impact. For years, we've been hearing that stress causes cardiovascular disease. Now we can see a direct correlation between stress and type 1 diabetes, because that cortisol activity starts to cause insulin resistance. There's another light bulb moment. Why aren't we talking about this, right? It goes beyond changing our eating habits. And that's where I love connecting the dots, because when we start to see, oh, my doctor might not be telling me if I change my stress level, I can change my health, but I can also feel more resilient and more energized and likely to get out and exercise. Double win. So Harvard did a research and a study and looked at some of their students and showed them 2 videos explaining the physical impacts of stress. And we all get it. If we've stood up in front of a crowd and that is not our jam, you might not have been held back by this. But a lot of people, their stomach gets fluttery, their heart's racing, their mouth goes dry, their hearing might get muffled. And so it's all biological response. We have survived to this point because we are wired to respond to stress. I've heard people say, and I love this analogy, bad experiences are like Velcro and good experiences are like Teflon. That's because that's how we survive to thrive. So those same responses, if we think, oh, our heart is pounding, our palms are sweating, I can't catch my breath, I'm not prepared to speak, all of that sets us up for even more physical impact. We get that constriction in our blood vessels and everything else. If we reframe that and say, my heart is pounding, but it's giving me energy and sending more blood and oxygen to my brain so I can think more clearly. My focus is narrowed, but I'm more able to quickly respond to what's coming up in front of me.
Okay.
If we think about that, my hands are sweaty, but that's because my circulation shifted. And if I was in a biological situation, had to run from that tiger, I've got the energy to do it. Mm-hmm. When we realize that we can be empowered by stress, that physical impact, that cardiovascular risk goes away immediately. And it actually, in their tests, reads more as our physical state of joy and courage. Mm-hmm. So that shift in perspective can be enough to start turning the tables in how we respond to stress at work. And in all things moderation, we don't want to move to the other end where we're adrenaline junkies and we're setting ourselves up to be in that stress response because we think, oh, that's the focus that serves us. But that's just one of the ways in which we can start to take back power and recognize that we're not subject to the things that stress us out.
Wow. Oh, yes. Can you see the steam coming out of my ears? My goodness. Well, it's so encouraging to me to listen to you. And, I'm old enough to be your dad. And I'm just feeling very daddish right now and just proud that you believe what you're saying. And you know what you're saying and you believe what you're saying. And here's the crux of the whole situation is that you are able to pass on this knowledge, this deep experience and knowledge to other people to free them up, to embolden them. Isn't that a great word? Embolden. I love that word. And to make, very simplistically, make their lives better. And wow, I am so impressed. And we got plenty of time here. Let me ask you the question that I really like to ask at the end, and then you can talk about whatever you want to. Okay, you can talk about San Diego. You can talk about whatever you want to. But when it comes to living your best life, what advice do you have for our viewers, for our audience? Your best life.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad I saved a little time because this could be a couple of different tips. As you were sharing a little introduction about me, you shared that I put a priority on play and creativity. I try not to geek out too much into the research that I've collected, but when we are in a positive state of mind, when we're in a positive mood, our perspective, right? When we're stressed out, it's narrow. When we're positive, we're much more broad and open. So this broaden and build kind of frame of mind, which we can help to create or foster when we indulge in creativity, when we get curious and we're in that playful frame of mind. That gives us access to a whole lot more opportunity, creative problem solving, connection and community, because we're open to ideas from other people, which helps them feel heard and that we can feel heard. That's that beautiful circle that goes round. So the power of play is something that I think we really have to come back to. It's not immature. The person who, appropriately is comical in the office or what have you at the workplace, the person who's lifting the mood actually is bringing great benefit. And they've actually been able to quantify the benefits of people who rate themselves as positive over people who are negative or neutral, right? We're better at sales. We're more commonly promoted. And that's not just because more likable, but because people who are positive, like I was just saying, are more open to solutions. And so they're able to improve themselves better. And so when we give ourselves that space to play, it gives us not only more happy opportunities, but benefits in the workplace. So it's a real win-win. And another benefit of it is, as I've gotten older and I've heard other people say, time just speeds up, right? We think we've got all the time in the world when we're young, but when we get, it's just zip, 2022, how did we get here? These moments of awe and wonder help us to stretch time. And when we're younger, we have more of these. We have more of these novel experiences. It's the first time we've been to this place or done this activity or had this experience. And those are like bookmarks that help our mind, right? Kind of the book of memory kind of spins is longer because we've got more of those bookmarks. As we get older and we do less of that new and different and novel experience, time just flies right by. So if through creativity and play and exploration, we can bring that back into our lives, we can bring back some of those opportunities to create new memories, to bring more joy into our lives, but also to kind of slow down that monotony, that grind that picks up when we are operating from stress and just trying to power through.
Deep,
So that's
deep,
one.
brilliant. Hey, go ahead and geek out. I'm enjoying the geekiness. Actually, you're not geeky at all. Which okay, for all you folks, that is not geeky. Okay, that is, do not pin that title on this marvelous young lady. So, is there more?
So another tip that I have is, when we are stressed out, we tend to withdraw and isolate. Maybe we think we don't want to bring other people down. We're not very good company. Nobody wants to hear our story, and we tend to isolate. But in fact, coming together in community, as I've already mentioned, I'm really passionate about helping people recognize how connected we are if we seek those opportunities. When we reach out to other people, when we give other people the opportunity to support us, to listen to our story, to help lift us back up, we're helping them feel better. We feel great when we give to other people. When we participate in community service, we feel good. It helps to put things into context, into perspective. It helps us to feel like we're part of a solution instead of just watching problems happen. And so when we reach out, we're not weighing other people down. We're giving them an opportunity to support and to feel better in return. And we then have that opportunity to support them, to understand that their story is unfolding at the same time and that all of this is happening together, right? It helps us to get out of ourselves and to recognize that there is a greater experience that's happening. And then together, we can look for solutions. We can be open to perspectives. When we look for what's within our control. And so I guess that's kind of a semi-tangent, but I also really think it's important. There's so many things that are outside of our immediate control that really take our attention, our energy,
yes,
wreak havoc with our emotions. And again, we're just giving away our power when that's all we focus on. But what's within our control is, what do we want more of in the new year? Do we want a healthier relationship with food? Do I want to say my body matters and I'm going to exercise more days than not? That's what I'm focusing on in the new year. And then just keep coming back to it, right? Instead of saying, well, it's Friday and I haven't done anything since Sunday, so there goes that. Like, all right, this is a new week. How are we going to do better next week? How can we bring in some wins and start building on those? And that's that kind of momentum that moves us into a better direction, right? Like you said, building on those small wins is so important because it starts to open up space to have a little more energy, a little more positivity about bringing in one more change.
Mm-hmm.
We can build on that as opposed to feeling really overwhelmed when we think we have to do 12 new things every day and we haven't thought about how that can fit into our existing calendar. Mm-hmm. So looking for those opportunities, I think is really important.
I can see where it's easy for me to talk about the types of people going through transition and tangents in their lives and moving on. It's easy for me to see that, but people just don't understand that. I stress in Strategy for Destiny, What Were You Born to Do, that no one cares about your dream except you. And if you don't do something about it, if you don't lasso that dream and figure out what it is, if you don't take my course, that's fine. But if you don't go see Susie, if you don't if you don't get on Zoom calls or buy the courses of some of the other people who are part of this summit, you are woe unto thee. I mean, it's just a depressing life and a continuous lifestyle of regret. And I say, where are you going to be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, doing the same things that people expected you to do or forced you to do? How old are you going to be when you finally latch onto that dream? When you finally get it down in your craw that you got to talk to Susie. You have to talk to Coach Rick. You have to move ahead and just put on those blinders. And all the people who will say, you don't need to do anything. What are you trying to get above your raisin? You're too young. You're too old. You're not the right ethnicity. You're not the right age. You're overly educated. You're undereducated. You can't do these things. And yet, when they come to me, when they come to you, and they pour out their hearts because they want somebody who they can look to as an authority. I'm one of those people, and you are definitely, I sing your praises, young lady. You are definitely one of those people who will take somebody's life, and you'll take that beating heart, and you'll massage it and massage it and massage it. And probably through a lot of tears, probably through a lot of just soul searching, because there's that hole in your soul. And we can talk for hours about that hole in your soul and about the 2 or 3 different holes that are there and what it takes to fill those. But for right now, it's the Susi Vine show. And I am so grateful to you. Is there anything else that you want to throw in? We're getting towards the end of our time together this time, but there will be more. And anything else you want to close this out with there, young lady?
What comes to my mind and what you're just saying, and thank you. I won't go too far afield, but we get what we're looking for. And so when we look for reasons not to, we look for all the reasons now isn't the time, or we're not ready, or we don't have the resources, we'll find plenty of evidence. But if we look for what we want, if we look for opportunities, if we look for helpers, if we look for ideas, then they will be able to find us. We will notice them when they come onto our path.
Yeah. It's a lot of people. It's a trust factor. They're looking for somebody to be an authority in their lives, but they've trusted so many potential authorities who have stabbed them in the back, who have walked away from them, run away from them, ruined their reputations or whatever they've done. And for them to come to you or to come to me or some of the other speakers on this summit, it takes a lot of guts, just plain old guts, guts to say, I'm going to do something with my life. And you know what? I would tell people who are going to come to you exactly what I tell people who come to me. Don't talk about it. Don't tell people you're taking this course. Don't tell them that you're working with Susi Vine. Don't tell them that you're working with Coach Rick. Don't tell them that until you've gone through it all and your life has changed and people are looking at you and listening to you and going, what's up with you? You're different. What did you do? And they get curious, and then you're solid enough after working with you, after working with me. They're solid enough that nobody can shoot them out of their saddle. And that's when the life changes. They become strong, they become permanent. And I know that's what I'm looking for, because I've been around a lot longer than you have. And I just want people to be free. I want them to be free to live the life that they were born to live, to be the person they were born to be, and to do the things they were born to do. And I'll tell you, I have enjoyed a lot of these interviews. This is one of the top ones, definitely. And so let's sign off here. And just remember, folks, if you want to be able to come back to listen to Susi again, which I would definitely recommend, you need to upgrade to VIP. And I'll just tell you, just do it. Just upgrade to VIP. You get the whole of everything. You get it all in a package. You're able to access it. You're able to listen to her again. And it's a good thing to do, because if you were uplifted by what you've heard this time, you need to go back and listen to her again, and then give her a call. Get on that cell phone for something other than TikTok, and just work with this lady. Okay, so I guess we are done for now, and see you in the next interview.
It's been a treat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.